Just airbrush them out. It's so easy. You know it's so easy, just airbrush them out. What's happening, guys? Dan Debenham here. Just airbrush them out. Just airbrush them out. You know it's so easy. Just do it. I've seen it done in Photoshop. How many times have we heard when you're doing a corporate video or you're doing some kind of outside shot and it's sort of, you know, not particularly well planned, and somebody in the background walks past, and then later down the line you've done your video, you've sent it off to your client, the client comes back and says, it'd be great, that's fantastic, it looks amazing, can we just take out that one thing? Can we just take out that sign, or can we just take out that logo, or can we just take out whatever it may be, can we just remove it? And you just think, oh no, it's going to be masking, it's going to be rotoscoping, it's going to take me hours, it's going to add thousands to the bill because I'm going to spend ages trying to do it, etc. And you just strikes fear into the heart of editors. Certainly strikes fear into my heart. I'm just like, oh, yeah, I like it, and you know, I enjoy it at the time, but you just want the thing done and gone, don't you? At the end of the day, that's the whole crux of the matter. Well, Adobe have a tool that will greatly increase your productivity in that area. And this is what we're going to learn in this episode. We're going to learn how to remove anything from everything. So, without further ado, let's dive into After Effects and let's have a look and see how we use Content Aware to get rid of things in video. Okay, so now that we're into After Effects, what we're going to do is we've imported our footage into the project bin, and we're going to create a new composition by just dragging it down to this little icon here, this little movie icon. The reason we do it that way is because we know we can guarantee that definitely creates a composition which is essentially the same as our clip. So we're not working in a 4K timeline with a 1080p clip or vice versa, etc, etc. It's just exactly as it should be. Okay, so what we've got is we've got this bit of footage here, and this has got Molly running through the park, or through the back of where I live. Just as some quick footage, just to show you how this actually works. So she goes off screen around about there, so we're going to just trim our comp to around about where she should be. So by doing that, what we do is we move this line down to where we want it to be, and then we right click on it, and then we trim comp to work area. And that essentially just means that we're only working with the piece of footage that we want to work with. Now it's a little bit zoomed out this, so what we're going to do is we're just going to zoom it in a little bit, say zoom it into 33%. In fact, I'll tell you what, let's make it 50% so we can see her, and we'll zoom in and out as we go along with this project. Okay, so next thing we want to do is we need to create a mask around this subject, this object that we want to get rid of. So we're going to go up to the pen tool here, and we've made sure we've selected our clip, and then what we're going to do is we're just going to draw a mask around this subject, like so. Okay, and that shows us that we've got a mask around the subject, and all the black is the stuff that we're masking out. But what we want to do is we want to come down here into masks, and we just want to set it to none, because we want to see the whole project. We want to see the whole scene, because we need to know what it is that we're actually masking out and how we're doing that. So we're going to click on the selection tool rather than on the pen tool, just to make sure we've got everything we need to do. And what we're going to need to be aware of is, obviously with animals, in this case we're doing an animal, so they've got tails and things flapping about all over the place, especially my dog, and we need to make sure we keep all those inside this mask. So first things first, what we're going to do is we're going to go to the mask, and we're going to set a mask path, and that's right at the very beginning of our timeline, because we're taking the entire thing out. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to move forward slightly, and I can see already that this is a tail's jumping straight out of there. So I'm going to move that up, and I'm going to move the whole thing forward slightly. And as you can see, I've left a little bit of space around Molly, and that is so that when we come to remove her, it gives the AI in After Effects something to work with, so it knows, okay, yeah, this bit here should really look a little bit like this sort of frosty ground here. This bit here should look a little bit like this green grass over here, and it just continually does that as we move along. And what we're going to do is we're just going to keep moving this mask along and adjusting it to make sure that it fits with what subject we're trying to get rid of. And you can do it in big steps, you can do it in little steps. I'm doing it in sort of medium-sized steps. I'm not trying to be particularly careful. I know that she's okay until we get to about there, and I'm going to move it forward a little bit. And I'm just going to keep watching. Now I can see she's going to come out of there a little bit, so I'm going to select that one there, and I'm just going to move it up a little bit, and then I'm going to select the whole thing again, and I'm just going to move it forward, and I'm going to bring it to there, and we're just going to try our very, very, very best to make sure we keep her and her tail and everything else that she's got flailing about. We're going to try and keep it all within this mask and make sure that we can try and give After Effects the best possible chance of removing all the information that we want it to remove. So we can see from here she's definitely going to start coming out of this mask here. So we're going to move this forward and we're going to move it down a little bit, and each time you can see it's creating keyframes. It's making sure that it's registering where we are and what we're doing. I'm going to move this down a little bit more, and I'm just doing it ever so slightly, a little bit at a time, but I'm not being massively careful with it. I'm just wanting to make sure that we keep everything going. So I'm going to get this here, and I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger, and I'm going to make that a little bit bigger, and I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. And this is just to make my life a little bit easier, really. So we can see, yeah, the tail's definitely inside still. Okay, I'm going to select it all again, and I'm just going to move it down a bit, and I'm going to move it down a bit again, and I'm going to move it down a bit again because I saw a paw come out there. But I'm also going to grab those two, if I can grab them both, and I'm just going to raise that up a little bit. And I'm going to move. Ooh, look at that! Look at that there. That just wants to come up a little bit more. And we're going to come to here, grab the whole thing again, move it down a bit, and move it across this way, just to give it a bit of space. That wants to come down a little bit more there. So we're going to come down to here. I'm going to make this even bigger, but I'm also going to make that bigger there, just to give me a bit of a chance. Okay, we're going to move forward again. I can see that she's moving that way now, so we're going to move back this way. Keep it going. Keep it going. And she's getting bigger, so we're obviously going to encounter having to make this mask bigger, because obviously if she gets larger, our mask needs to get larger. So we're going to just expand this out slightly. I'm going to select the whole thing again. I'm going to move forward again, and we know we're okay until we get to about there, and then I shift it back this way. Gives her a bit of space. She does some sort of little jump there. I'm going to move that this way again. And yeah, she comes down here. We've got ears, we've got face, we've got ball, we've got paws going all over the place. We're just going to try and keep her inside this mask as much as we possibly can. We can of course always go back at a later time and just retweak things if we need to. But ideally it's best to try and tweak these things as you go, rather than let's no, we don't want to do that. Mask, I want to select the mask, not that, and I want to go to let's go to 33% here. Okay, back on track again we are. Sounded a bit like Yoda, that, didn't it? I've done it again. I've done it again now, haven't you? Okay. Okay, so we're just going to expand this out a little bit, just to give us a tiny bit of space. Okay, I'm going to move forward to there. Look at this. So she's come right out of this mask now. So we're going to have to come up here and we're going to have to bring this in. Have to fetch that there like that. We have to bring that to there, like so. Okay, I'm going to move forward again. I'm going to just bring this down to 25%, and I'm going to select this mask entirely and just move it forward again. And I'm going to move it forward again, and I'm going to move it forward again, because now she's watching me. She's looking at me, going, look at me, I've got a ball. Okay, and I'm going to just move this out here, and I'm going to move that there, like so, and I'm going to shift that up, and I'm going to shift that out, and I'm going to shift that out. So we've almost got ourselves a circle. Then I'm going to move forward again. Look at that, straight away she's moving really quick now. So we know we can keep her in this frame here, and we know we can keep her there, but we need that to be bigger, and we need that to come out more. And as you can see, this mask is now grown in size compared to what it was when we initially started masking her out. She's nowhere near, we're already way above where we would normally be when she was smaller over the other side. I'm going to have to bring that right out here, aren't I? I'm going to try and keep it within this white space here, just so that it gives After Effects a little bit of an easier time. It's only having to try and figure out what this is. It's not trying to figure out gaps and things like that. And that's just you sort of like trying to help at the same time as trying to get it to do something. You've got to sort of play your part as well at the same time. So I'm going to bring this down to 12% here, just so that I can see it, because this screen that we're on at the moment is quite small, so it's a struggle to see where things are. But what we're doing now is we're just making sure we keep her inside, as we said, and let's just select this whole bit here and extend this out to about there. Okay, and we're gonna I'm going to select mask again and select the whole thing, and I'm going to shift it that way, and then hopefully this should, in theory, be one of the last few movements we need to make as she toggles off screen. Now there you go, you see, that needs to come up, and I need to select that piece. And that's just to allow her to go off screen gracefully. And what we'll do is we'll just stick a keyframe in there that the mask moves a little bit, just so that we've got everything that we need. So as we go backwards through it, you can see that she is tracked by this mask. It's not particularly accurate mask in terms of like following the contours of how she is and what shape she is, but you can see she's pretty much contained within all of that, and there is no real issues there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to feather it by 10%, just to give that little bit of a feel to it, just to see if that makes any difference. What we want to do is we want to just make sure that she is definitely covered on everything. Looks to be. There might be some issues, little issues here and there, and we're not going to do the shadow because, well, I can't be bothered. But effectively what we would do is we would just do another mask, and we just mask out the shadow, because that's a separate item altogether. So you just go up to layer, mask, and you just add a new mask in. Basically, jobs are good. Or you just click on your icon and then click another mask, and away you go. And they come in different colours, so you can see which one's which and all that kind of stuff. But we can see we've masked her out now, and effectively we are good. So if we go to subtract now, we can see that we've got this mask here, and that's basically what we're going to be working with. So what we need to do now is we need to come over to here to our sidebar. We've got info, audio, etc, 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 and we need content aware fill. And we'll scroll down to content aware fill, and you can see it shows our mask, and as we go through the system, as we go through the scene, you can see this mask gets bigger and bigger, and you can see what it is that you're actually getting rid of. So we have options in here. We've got alpha expansion, which is basically how much of this is going to let you expand it to. I typically like to go between 3 and 5, so today we'll go with 4 just to be sort of in the middle. You've got fill method, which is object, surface or edge blend. For us, we're going to go with object because we want to take an object out. We're not taking a surface out like a sign or whatever that would be, and we're not blending any edges, so we're not trying to mask two things together, so to speak. So we're going to go with object, and we're going to go with not entire duration, we're going to go with work area because we want it, this section here, we want the whole thing done. So we're going to stick with work area. There are a couple of different things you can do. You can create a reference frame, which effectively gives more information to content aware, to the AI. So effectively what that will do is open up Photoshop, let you clone stamp out what you think you want clone stamping out. Say for instance that black line, that shadow line. We would clone stamp that out and then save it. It would then put that PNG into After Effects and let content aware go, you don't want that there, okay, fair enough. So we can mask that out completely through the whole frame. And what you do is you do that periodically. You don't do it every single frame. You do this frame, then you maybe go 30 seconds in or whatever, and then maybe a minute in, and then maybe a minute 30, and you keep doing them, and you keep doing it, and it keeps adding them in, and eventually After Effects gets all the information it desperately needs for stuff that's really, really complex, and it allows it to have a much better chance of getting rid of what you're trying to get rid of. In our case, that would be Molly. So once you've done all that, what we do then is we go to generate fill layer. So we'll click on generate fill layer, and it then will analyze the whole scene, and it will then do its best to try and remove what you're trying to remove. Anything that you've masked out basically it will try and remove it and replace it with essentially the same sort of thing that you would do with content aware fill with Photoshop. So it will try and predict what it needs in order to make that scene look like that thing wasn't actually there in the first place. And to be fair, it does a great job. On the whole, it's a pretty good thing. It does do quite a good job of making sure that it gets as accurate as it possibly can. So while this is analysing, I'm going to go away and get a coffee, and I'm not sure I'm going to have time to get that coffee, and I will come back to you when it's done. Okay, welcome back, and yeah, as predicted, I didn't have time to get that coffee, which is a travesty in itself, but it has actually generated that fill layer. As you can see down at the bottom here, it's generated a fill above the video itself, and you can see from the video here that there is no longer a dog in the video. So let's just fit that to screen so we can see. There's nothing in there now, and what we can do is we can just play this through and you can see how that actually works. Now you can see the shadow because I haven't removed that, because that's an extra mask that we would put in and just remove that out. So you can see where she was, and I've left that in so you can actually see where she was, so you can see how good a job it's actually done, because I wanted you to see it taking her out but actually seeing where she is in the same video. So as you can see, it's done an absolutely excellent job of doing that. Again, as I say, if you wanted to add an extra layer in, you can, but we're not going to do that today because it's the same process twice, and I don't think you need to see that same process twice. So yeah, absolutely fantastic. It does an amazing job of getting rid of stuff. It can be anything, absolutely anything: trees, cars, bins, signage, whatever you want to get rid of, it can get rid of it through the moving image, through the video, and make it look like it was never there. And there you go, guys. It's going to greatly save you so much time to be able to quickly just sort of get rid of something and it look, to all intents and purposes, like it was never there. You can put mask upon mask upon mask, so you can do 2 or 3 different masks, and you can so you get everything right how it should be, and it's not like you need to be massively accurate with your mask. As you've seen, you need to give it the space. In actual fact, it's the opposite of what we would normally do with rotoscoping and masking, which is to be infinitely accurate with where the mask is going in order to make it super crisp. This is the complete opposite of that. It needs a space, it needs the bit extra around the edge of the thing that you're trying to get rid of in order to be able to determine what it needs to put in there in order to, the AI, in order to be able to create the scene again from behind using content aware fill, which is essentially the same thing that they've got in Photoshop. And it just saves so much time. Absolutely amazing idea. And on top of that, I do know there is an update coming in 2021 which makes it even better, makes this feature even more useful, and just tweaks it that tiny little bit and allows you to make a little bit more of an adjustment in order to be able to refine that selection and refine the amount of information that Photoshop can get to you. There are other things that this content aware fill does. You can create a PNG snapshot from that, as discussed, and that gives the content aware further information of what a scene should look like once you've sort of scrubbed them out and done a bit of work in Photoshop. So it works in conjunction with Photoshop as well, and you don't have to worry about any of the stuff saving files all over the place. They're all saved directly within After Effects, which makes it much cleaner and much tidier workspace for us editors to work in. So with that, I hope you did find it useful, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.